thing, real big man thing.
So,
God.
Comrade Meadows, maybe if I can ask you this question. How
Yes.
do you look at, how do you view the current Prime Minister then and now? How do you view him?
I was one of I was in the Senate. I remember
Mm,
when Bruce Golden elected to resign
Mm-hmm.
and
mm,
he appointed or
Anointed.
anointed Andrew Holness
mhm,
Mm-hmm.
as his successor. I was one of the first person who came out public, and the record will reflect that,
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
who came out and endorsed his candidacy. One, I believe that as a young mind, he came with new energy,
Mm-hmm.
new thought. And sadly, over time, I realized that what I expected was not realized in terms of
Mm-hmm.
his, um, his sincerity. I don't think he's
Right, right.
sincere in his
Mm.
efforts, and I think he's devoid of some values. As a leader, you must be consistent in your values.
Yes,
Your
yes.
principles and your integrity can't be situational and circumstantial. Who, what, where, and when.
Mm-hmm.
Principles must remain constant, regardless of
Yes.
whatever factors, whether he, she, or the whole lady.
Old lady.
But you
Yeah.
find yourself on the blow with the wind when you're devoid of a conviction in terms of your principles.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
You blow with the wind and you make it up as it goes along.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Even this whole debate with constitution reform,
Yes.
you realize almost all of a sudden dual citizenship. Oh, I have a little
Yeah, we realize you have one of those small
yeah,
ones.
man, the smallest in the house and the loudest in the house. Even this whole debate of dual citizenship, as I tweeted earlier,
Mm-hmm.
that is all a game of political sophistry
It is.
and distraction. Because I don't know how you seek to support dual citizenship among member parliaments,
Mm-hmm.
but you are rigid when it comes to the prime minister. When in fact
Amen.
we don't elect prime ministers in Jamaica, you know that.
No, we
That
don't.
is it.
We elect member parliaments, and prime
Exactly.
minister emerges
Amen.
from from the majority cohort of MPs.
Exactly.
We don't vote
The
in
MP,
anything
the
there.
MP with the most support becomes the
Thank
prime
you.
minister.
So how dare you then support? It's absurd. How then you support dual citizens among MPs from which prime minister should emerge?
Stupid.
Doesn't make sense, and it tells you that what is going on, this whole debate, is not sincere. Even this whole constitution reform is
Mm-hmm.
just a face card
Yeah.
and an effort to appear that you're doing something when you're in fact doing nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
You remember in 2016, this was our prime minister committed to us.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, in
Yeah.
2016, committed to us within 100 days.
Yup.
He would have effected and made some fundamental changes. Matter of fact, he considered them so profound and sacred that he gave himself 100 days for the
100 days.
to give effect to these promises. We've
Yeah.
gone over nearly 3,000 days, and nothing is yet to be realized in terms of. You're talking about impeachment. You're talking about fixed election date. You remember some of those?
A lot of other promises too.
A lot of other
Sleep with your
promises, and,
windows and
and
the doors open.
thank you. And,
Mm-hmm.
and and having abandoned and failed in realizing your promise, you now come with this constitutional reform committee, which is just, in my view, an effort to deceive.
Yeah.
Because and this is where I
Glorified
agree.
laborers.
Here's where I agree with the PNP and Matt Golding in this case.
Mm-hmm.
And let me just be clear. Personally, and I'll be honest with you.
Right.
Personally, my own view, I'd rather my parliament. My views on this whole thing of dual citizenship is not a progressive one. For me personally, I would love that my members of my prime minister must be devoid of any conflicting allegiance. That's for me.
Right.
I want my parliament to be pure Jamaicans.
Right.
I don't believe that you live elsewhere, right? You come here and you make laws that I am subject to. I am domiciled there, right? So you come and you make laws that I am subjected to, but you can get take a plane and go after that. So this whole issue about diaspora participation and being in the Senate, for personally me, and I'm being frank with you, that's my personal choice. I'm not a proponent of that.
Okay.
Nonetheless, the law allows our MPs
Right.
and Prime Minister to have dual citizenship from the Commonwealth. That's the Constitution. That's the law allows.
The law.
So it is really ridiculous to be now seeking to chastise somebody
Exactly.
who is within the law. Change the law if you don't like it that way, or you don't want it that way. But until the law change, you don't seek to demonize and vilify somebody who happens to have dual citizenship from the Commonwealth.
Yeah. Especially if that person was born and raised in Jamaica.
Thank you.
And
It's a dishonest argument,
dishonest.
right? And we must call it for what it is,
It is.
right? I believe that we risk wasting an opportune time in history in terms of removing ourselves from the monarchy and becoming a real republic.
Quite
So
right.
simple just remove yourself from the queen or the king in this case, right? Without moving further with substantial constitutional reform that we have been arguing over with from time immemorial,
Amen.
right? We need to just use this opportunity, right? And go with fundamental constitutional reform, not superficial,
Which is what they're trying to do.
which is what they're doing now. And we must call a spade, right? So, our Prime Minister Andrew Holness, I believe, I think he has let the people down, particularly young people. A lot of young people, I can tell you, bought into Andrew Holness. That was reflected in the 2020
Amen.
elections. Young people believed in him. Now, young people are running away from him because, like me, they are disappointed. You know what you call buyer's remorse?
Yep.
Precisely.
Tell them said Andrew Holness is a dead product.
Right? One of the things that turned me off of this government is they are so intolerant of dissenting views.
Yep.
Somebody go on their timeline or go on their page and voice their concern regarding
No twitchy.
public topical issues. The police is sent for them under their beds and drag them out quicker than they find the criminals. Something is fundamentally wrong with that. And when you don't do that, you're vindictive. You use the tax administration. You weaponize the tax office to audit people who you don't like or who goes against you. You fire people.
Victimize them.
You fire people who don't who seem to speak out or express their view. You can't run a society like that. And that's one of the things that turns me off. We must be tolerant of dissenting views. You don't have to agree with the
That is the truth.
right? And that's what democracy is. We don't have to agree all the while, but there must be mutual respect and tolerance for each other's views.